Hello, my name is Katie. Welcome to my channel. Today we will be installing NativeWind into our React Native project. So this is super exciting to me because I love styling pages, and NativeWind really just makes all my pages come to life. It's pretty much what I exclusively use to style my pages, and it's really helpful to me, and I think it will be helpful to you if you're looking to up your styling game in React Native. It's also super efficient. So we'll just go over what is NativeWind. NativeWind is a library that consists of utility classes used for styling reasons. So if you usually use a CSS file, or if you're familiar with that, it's a long page where you write out all your styling code, you build out all your classes yourself. Well, you don't need that anymore. You can get rid of that because this is classes already built out for you that you just plug into your code, like right there, and it will style exactly how you'd like it to once you get to learn all the classes and what they do. So yeah, today we're going to be going over installing NativeWind because it can be a little tricky, and I noticed some things with the installation guide that are a little tricky, so I'm going to go over everything with you. And yeah, once we get NativeWind up and running, you can learn some of the classes and it'll be great. So we'll go ahead and get started at looking at the documentation here. This is NativeWind's official documentation, nativewind.dev. This is in the Getting Started tab, and this is the installation page. So, first of all, if you've not created an Expo project yet, you can create one that's already configured with NativeWind, which is super cool. All you have to do is run this line right here that I'm highlighting, npx rn/new/ or dash NativeWind, and this creates an Expo project, like I said, with NativeWind already incorporated in it, so you don't have to do any of these manual steps we're going to go over. However, I think it is important to understand these manual steps so you can understand how NativeWind is incorporated into your project if you get any bugs down the road or anything. Also, I mainly only do manual configurations with NativeWind because often I'll set up my Expo project and I'll start organizing my pages and my code and this or that, and I won't add styling until later on in the project, and then at that point I'll add in NativeWind. So it's good to know how to do it the manual way too, which is what we'll go over. And we're going to be using the first React Native project we created in my last video, so we'll be going off of that. So first of all, we want to install NativeWind as a package in the Node project manager right there. So I'm going to hop over, where is it? Here it is, to my VS Code page right here. And we are in the client folder, which is where we want to be. This is where our React Native project lives. So yeah, we're going to install NativeWind with that line right there. And we'll install this line right here. And so these other things, React Native Reanimated, we already installed that. Same with Safe Area Context. We installed that in our last video. I just added them in anyways to be safe. This is installing Tailwind, which is the regular React version of NativeWind. So Tailwind is compatible with React, and NativeWind is compatible with React Native. So they're very similar. They do have differences in the way classes work. For example, flexboxes in NativeWind default as columns, whereas in Tailwind they default as rows. If you don't know what that means, that's okay, but there is some differences, which I wanted to point out, but it's very, very similar. Okay, that was installed. We're doing the second line of installations with Tailwind, just running the commands right here in the terminal. Next, we set up Tailwind. We do npx, which stands for node project execute, Tailwind CSS init. That creates a Tailwind configuration file. And that popped up right here, just as we expected. So we have to edit this line here, line 3, the content. This is telling NativeWind where to find files that will need styling. So we're going to want to add our app file in that, our main app file. That's an important file. We're going to want to add our views folder in there because in our last video we created the home page in the views folder. And we're going to want to add the components folder in there, which I have not created yet because our project so far is very basic, but you can build out components to add into your view. And so maybe components themselves will need to be styled. So in my project, most of my projects, these are the 3 areas, the 3 folders, the 3 routes that will need styling. And I already wrote it out, so I just copy and pasted it here. And then this right here is just good practice. It's saying app might end in JavaScript, JSX, TypeScript, TSX. Same with views and components. It's saying to include all of those file types. Also, so like I said earlier, where the installation guide is a little tricky, whenever I start a NativeWind project, it's missing a line for me. So if you can see this here, if we cross-check it with this code here, I am missing this presets line right here. And this is really important. The app will crash if this line isn't in it. So I always have to manually add this line after content. Right there. Now it matches the example here. So I'm not sure exactly why that is or if it'll happen to you too, but that line is always left out for me. Okay, next we're going to create a global.css file and add these few lines in it, and that's going to be done in the client folder level, global.css. These are just a few more lines to make everything work. Okay, we have to add more files now. We're adding the Babel file. This is a file that compiles your code into a readable version for React Native. Sometimes your JavaScript can be a newer version, and the Babel file will configure it to be a less new version that React Native can read, things like that. It just ensures that React Native will be able to read your code. This is also in the client level, the client folder level. Okay, and you want to make sure the file types are exactly how they are instructed in the guide. Okay, pasted that in. Okay, now we have to make a metro file. The metro file is a bundler, so it's going to bundle all your code so that React Native can read it efficiently. metro.config.js. Paste that in there. Pretty easy. A lot of copy and pasting. Okay, now we're going to import global CSS, that file we made, into our main app file. You can just copy and paste it into your list of imports. Okay, now we're gonna edit our app.json file. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. This file, I kind of think of it as like blueprints for the app. It lists a lot of packages that are required or needed. It gives instructions, things like that. Okay, and we're gonna add this to the web section. We add a comma here. Paste it in. This just is instructing the app to use the Metro file as its bundler. Okay, there's an optional step for TypeScript. We aren't using TypeScript in this app, so we won't do this. But again, if you are using TypeScript, it's just creating a file. The file name is right here. And then just pasting this one line of code in. So just an extra file. All right, so now we're set. I'm going to go ahead and run the app. I know it's going to bug for me, but I'm going to show the bug, and we're going to take steps together in how to debug it in case anything similar happens to you. To start our app, we do expo why am I blanking? NPX expo start. Okay, yeah, I'm like, I forgot the NPX. There we go. Oh, it actually, well, let's see. If we click reload, let's see if it gives the bug I was thinking. There we go. I was like, it's working, but it's not. So it's saying, cannot find module babel-preset-expo. Go to our Babel file here. Okay, we see it's right here. It's looking for babel-preset-expo. For some reason, in the instructions, it doesn't say to add that as a package, but it is needed. So I have some notes right here. This is what we're gonna paste in here. So this is npm-i, stands for Node Project Manager install, and then save dev. We're only installing it to the development version of the app because it's not needed in other versions. You press Control-C to stop the server. Oops, and then we're gonna paste this in. That didn't paste well. Let's try again. Paste. Okay, that looks good. We added that in. Let's try starting up the app again. Reload. I'm pressing R to reload. We got another error. It says react-native-worklets is not installed. So again, this is another package that I am going to manually install that's not in the documentation here. So I don't know. I think this line right here may be a little outdated because I know safe area context is a little outdated. They use safe area view now. So I don't know if it's something with it being outdated or what, but I just noticed there's a few extra packages I have to install myself. Okay, so that's one extra package we installed. Okay. Now let's try running again. Also, whenever you edit the Babel file or anything having to do with that, you want to clear your cache because there can be cache issues when you edit the Babel file. And you do that by adding dash, oh, not there. In the terminal, we have npx expo start -c to clear all the cache. So that's just a good habit. Pressing R to reload. It might take a little longer for the apps to load now because the cache is cleared. I'm hoping it should work correctly now after we made some of those edits, but it is a little tricky. I'll include this in the video description. But here is the code I added with the added preset line here that wasn't included. And then these are the extra packages to make the app work. I'll include that in the description, and let's see. Yep, they're up and running now. So it works. There is no styling in it yet. This is mainly a installation tutorial because there were some tricky parts as you saw, but we'll just do a little bit of styling just so we can make sure it works. Let's see, I'm gonna wrap this in a view here. A view is like a container, okay? And we want, if we use a new tag, we always want to importing it up here. And to add NativeWind styling in here, you do class name equals inside the tag you want to style with quotes, and then you add in your class names. Let's see. So yeah, we can go ahead and center this using flex. Item center will center it horizontally. Justify center will center it vertically, which is opposite of regular React. As I mentioned, because React Native defaults to a column. So item center will center it horizontally in a flex column, and justify center will center it vertically in a flex column. Cool, so now this text should be centered within here. And I'm just making some spaces here to format it a little bit better. We'll also add a class name here. And then we'll center the text within we'll center the actual text within the text container. So that'll center the text even more. And we'll do a background here. Let's do like slate, which is a gray. And we can make the text a fun color, like blue. And maybe we can make it italic. Okay. I'm going to press R to reload. Okay, let's see, a moment of truth. There it is. Okay, you can't, it's a little hard to see. And then this one I think just hasn't loaded. I'm going to press A again to load Android. Let's make this a little bigger while we're at it. Let's make it like, how about 50 pixels? Okay, pressing R to reload. This is my first React Native project. Woo! We have it centered, italics, gray background, blue text. Android doesn't want to load for me. If you press M, that toggles the device menu. And it's not even toggling the device menu here. Oh, it loaded. You know, I realized since I'm on a MacBook, the Android and Android Studio is a lot slower for me, I think for that reason. The iPhone always works way faster. So if you're using both and one is being tricky, like just be patient. It loaded. So yeah, they both look great. And that is a NativeWind installation tutorial and a very, very beginning on how to use classes. If you're interested and want to see all the different classes, the documentation page is a great place to start. If you just scroll down past the installation instructions, you can see all the different classes here. There's flex, spacing, sizing. You can click on one, it shows all the different classes and explains what they do, typography, font weight. There's, like I said, there's so much you can do. So yeah, maybe the next video we can kind of get into more of the details on how to style your pages, but I hope this was helpful. I hope this kind of cleared up maybe some issues you were having with installing it. Like I said, there's a few extra things I have to add to make it work. But I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.